Hi friends, before I start this video, I want you to have a look at this message I received recently on LinkedIn. In this message, somebody is thanking me because they got 30% salary hike by reading my post on LinkedIn. And that made me really happy. And I decided, why not create a video where I can share whatever little I know that will increase your chances of getting salary hike. So in this video, I'm going to tell you 4 important parameters which will increase your chances of getting a salary hike. Let's go. Let me now run you through the 4 important steps that we are going to take to get that salary hike. Number 1 is, why should you have a salary hike? This question is going to come invariably, so let's tackle that. Number 2 is, when to approach for your salary hike. Number 3 is, how much to ask for. And finally, how to ask for a salary hike. Okay, so let's talk about the first one first, which is, why should you have the salary hike? Now, I think you know this, I know this, everybody knows this, that every company has a formal process which is followed for a salary hike, right? So generally what happens is, your line manager, your boss's boss is involved in reviewing and approving the salary hike. HR partner and HR partner's boss as well is generally involved in reviewing and approving the salary hike. So these 4 people, and the first question these 4 people are going to ask invariably is, why should we give salary hike to so and so, right? And our job is to take all the evidence, take all the feedback that I'm just going to talk about and submit this, make it easier for them so that they've got every information ready on their tips to be able to say yes or no, which I think we are going to go for yes, right? So how do we justify it, right? So there are 2 important factors that I want to talk about. Number 1 is performance, right? Let's look at a few of the things around performance. Number 1 is your client feedback or your customer feedback, right? So go back and collect the customer feedback you've received in the last 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, whatever time period you can go back to. It might be through emails, it might be through chat messages, or it might be some meetings where publicly your client has praised, right? Even if it's as small as good job done, well done, just take all of that input. Yeah, get all these emails, get all these messages, screenshots and everything ready, right? Because the most important thing is your client is happy, right? Now, if you don't have it, if you don't have any client feedback, that's okay. But if you have it, go and dig out for those emails, because more often than not, we ourselves forget. So your boss is not going to remember any of that. Publicly in any of the emails, chat messages, if you've got all of that information, great. Bring it, take screenshots, bring it to one central document that I'm going to talk about, right? The second important aspect about performance is your boss's view, right? Or your boss's feedback. Go back and reflect on your appraisal discussions, your informal feedback you might have got from your boss. Again, messages, chats, publicly, giving you some awards, any star of the week, star of the month, pat on the back, anything that you've received in last 1 to 2 years, go back please and get all of that information into a document, just so that you've got everything in one place, right? The third thing is that, have you done anything outside your duties in the last 1 or 2 years, right? I remember when I was a business analyst back in 2009 and 10, I was working for a client, and what I did is, proactively, I documented the product's knowledge in a 140-page PDF document, and that itself was a big enough proof for me to say that, look, I have gone beyond and above my duties, and here is my commitment, and that worked out really well for me. So anything that you've done which was not part of your duties and you've done it well, go back and reflect, look at your activities, look at the emails that you've got, right? Find out your own way to dig out that 1 or 2 things you might have done which you have gone exceptionally, you've done exceptionally well, right? That will help you. And finally, number 4 is, look at your performance rating, your appraisal rating in the last 3 to 4 years, 2 years, and get all that view into it, because again, your boss is not likely to remember it, and even if they remember it, you are making their job really easy, so they have got the justification. So that is parameter number 1, which is performance, right? These 4 points are important. Make sure you've got all of this in one central place, right? Point number 2 is the market research, right? This is important because not only your individual performance, but secondly, what is the market rate for your role? Now, there are a few things I want to quickly talk about. So for example, if you are, let's say, a project manager, right? And you are a project manager in the Java technology, for example, right? Now, what you need to do is go to few websites, like let's say go to Glassdoor, go to LinkedIn, go to individual companies' websites. And pro tip here is go to some reputed companies' website. Okay, so go for, if you're in IT, for example, top 5 or 10 companies, go ahead and check their websites out. Look for the exact role that you are playing right now. So if you are a project manager, don't just look for project manager, working for a digital transformation or for SAP or for Oracle. What you're looking for is project manager working for Java technology. Look at your current number of experience, right? If you have got 5 years of experience, for example, compare the salary outside. If it is 5 years experience outside for Java project manager, how much, for example, Wipro is giving, Accenture is giving. That's another pro tip. Make sure you look at MNCs as well. Generally, MNCs pay more salary than local, companies, and that's just the fact, right? Go ahead and get some of that data on their websites, get those links ready for, in particular document, just so that you've got the market rate assessment done. And if you can clearly see that the market is paying more salary than yours, what will happen is it is a big factor to convince the HR, because they will ask for this. Many HR, they go outside the box and do the benchmarking, right? So make sure you've got that information. And secondly, you will know how much to ask for as well, because you need to know the market number, right? Also look at, talk to your peers and just see if your friends and, how much they're getting. But important factor here is try and get the evidence, right? Because people will ask for evidence. And even if they're not asking, you get it ready for yourself, right? So these two factors, which is performance, your individual performance, and the market condition, these are two important factors that you need to document, because this will justify why should you have a salary hike. The moment you've got all of this listed down somewhere neatly, and I leave the creativity for you to decide how do you want to represent this. You might do a slide presentation, you might just have a Word document. It doesn't really matter, as long as you've got this information in one place, ready to be presented to people who are going to make this decision, right? So that is parameter number 1. Moving on, point number 2 is when should you ask for the salary hike? Timing is important. Timing is key here, right? Generally, every company will have pay review cycles. Let us assume that your company has 2 cycles, one in December and second is in June. So 6-month basis, they review the salary and they give the hike, right? Now, what I would suggest is do not ask for a salary hike immediately after the pay review has closed. So for example, don't ask in January or February, because they've just settled in, right? Best time to ask, according to me, is roughly 2 to 3 months, 2 months before the salary hike is due. So for example, in the case of December cycle, you should go and ask around October timeframe, end of October, right? Mid of October, that is a good time. Likewise, if you're in the June cycle, try and target this April month, because that'll be really good one. You don't want to leave it too late, because then you are likely to miss the boat, right? Because this process starts 1 to 2 months before the due is actually before the salary is due, because in the background, the request goes to line manager, budget is assessed, nominations go out. You don't want to leave it too late, right? Because then you have more competition, right? So make sure that from a timing perspective, 2 to 3 months is a good time period. Second important factor about timing is when you are asking your boss, which we will talk about how do we ask it, make sure the project or the delivery is in good shape, right? There are not many escalations going on. It's all stable, right? Your boss is in an okay mood, if not, great mood, because you never know, right? So make sure that there is nothing happening which is going to reduce the chances of you getting a salary hike. So make sure it is a stable project and there are not many escalations. Your boss is not under a lot of stress and pressure. So that is a good timing for you to approach your boss, right? So on timing, these are the only 2 important points that I will recommend. Let's move on to point number 3 now. Point number 3 is how much to ask for. You're going to say, Rahul, should I even be asking a number? Hell yeah, you need to. Many people don't even ask for a specific number, and that is the biggest mistake they do, right? What they're going to do is they're going to reach out to their boss saying that I think I deserve a salary hike, and let the boss and HR decide how much they're going to give. No, we're not going to do that, right? If you've gone so far that you've gone ahead and approached them, and if you've asked for a salary hike, please be clear about how much you're going to ask for, right? Now, couple of things I want to just talk about. Number one is you would have done your market research, you would have scanned, or spoken to some of your peers and friends outside. You have a rough idea what the range is, right? But we are not going to ask for a range here, okay? It is important that you look at the numbers and then decide. So for example, let's say your salary right now is 10 lakhs rupees, right? And what you have seen outside is people are getting roughly 12 lakhs, 13 lakhs. So 13 lakhs is a good number for you, and you'll be really, really happy, and you will be retained in the company, or you will be happy to continue in the same company provided you get 13 lakhs, right? So what you're going to do is ask a little more than 13 lakhs in that case, right? So ask for 14 lakhs. Don't do 13.5 and all that. Go for a rounded number. So go for 14 lakhs rupees, right? Because you may not get all the what you're asking, right? So there may be some negotiation going on. At least you will settle for a number that you are happy with, so that you're not going to ask again and again. And these things do not, it doesn't look good that you go every year raising this a formal request for asking a salary hike, right? So make sure you choose a number which is in line with market rate. You think you can get justifications, and again, there is your judgment, because there are a number of parameters depending whether you have an offer in hand, whether your role, how much is the short supply right now in the market. There are various factors, so we can't pinpoint to one particular number, but the game, right? Because you have done the research right now. My advice is ask for a number, do not ask for a range. If you ask for a range, they're going to give you the lower range, of course, right? They're going to give you the lower range. So make sure you ask for a number. And secondly, if I have to pick a percentage, what I will suggest is no less than 30%. So if your current salary is 10 lakhs, go for minimum 13 lakhs. So ask for 14, and it might come down to 13, right? 30% is minimum you should ask for, and it might go up to 50 or 60% depending on, again, various factors. So that is something you need to talk through some of the friends. If you are able to approach me on LinkedIn, right? Depending on your situation, I might be able to advise you. Drop in the comments if you are okay to share, and I'll try my best to answer whatever I can. But generally, do not ask for less than 30%. And you saw in the example, somebody really got 30% hike, right? But make sure you ask for a number which you are happy to stay back, because these conversations do not happen every month. They do not happen every year. Make sure you ask for what will make you happy, right? So that is factor number 3. Last but not the least, number 4, which is how to approach your line manager, how to ask your boss so that he can't just say no. Okay, so I think one thing before I talk about how do we approach, one thing that I want to make it very clear is, first of all, feel confident. Okay, first of all, feel confident about you asking for a salary hike. You are not really asking for something that you don't deserve. You deserve it, so ask for it. Okay, be confident about it. So here are a few things. People say that you should, start giving some subtle hints to the line manager or your boss. I say all of that, please scrap all of that. You need to be very direct, very formal, very professional, very polite in the way you approach your boss, right? No corridor chats, no tap on the shoulders. You are going to set up a one-on-one meeting with your boss. Okay, it has to be that direct. Okay, now whether you already have a one-on-one meeting set up with your boss on a weekly or fortnight basis, that's all good. You can use one of those. But if you don't formally, then set up a formal meeting with your boss. Send them a meeting invite and just reach out to them and say, look, I've sent you an invite. I want to talk to you about something. Is that okay if we can just talk for 15 minutes, right? Send the invite. On the invite subject, don't say pay review or anything like that. Just say catch up. In the meeting when you're going, what you want to do is start by saying, for example, if your current salary is 10 lakhs, you will be happy with 13 lakhs. But as I said, you're going to ask for 14 lakhs, right? In the meeting, what we're going to talk about is you go into the meeting and say, for example, if I'm your line manager, I'm your boss, and you're saying it to me, right? The way you will say it is like this. Hi, Rahul. I believe that my salary is low, and I think my salary needs to be increased. Mainly 2 reasons. One is, look, my performance, as you know, has been really good. Our client has accepted it. They have given me good feedback. You yourself have acknowledged this. So I'm hoping that, from a performance perspective, you'll be all right. And secondly, I've also looked around outside, in the market for my job role, what I do here, and my experience. I think people are getting paid higher than what I'm being paid. So my request, my current salary right now is 10 lakhs, and I'm requesting you to raise my pay review matter, and my salary should be increased to 14 lakhs per annum. Is that okay? Or if you have any questions, I'm happy to clarify anything, right? Leave it there. Don't talk too much. This is a good summary of why you need it and then how much you're asking for, right? You need to bring that confidence to be able to say what I've just said, right? I know it's hard. I get you. It's hard to say, but you got to say it for your own financial growth, right? Now, there may be few outcomes here. Your boss, he or she might outright say no to it, okay? They may say, look, we are not doing it, Then it's time for you to explore your other options, right? Second possibility is, which is most likely to be the case, is your boss is going to smile and they're going to listen to you. And what they're going to say is, well, leave it with me. I'm going to just discuss and come back to you in few days, which is fair, right? And depending on what they come back with, accordingly, you basically, make your answers, right? Whatever, if they have few questions, make sure after the meeting, you also say in the meeting that I've got everything documented. I'm happy for you to have a look at it. I'll send it to you after the meeting. Send the link of that document where you've got all these client feedbacks, your performance, your everything we talked about in point number 1. Make sure it's all nicely documented and just send the link to them. They can go through it and then leave it with them. Now, in terms of follow-ups and chasing up, of course, you have to chase, right? Give them few weeks, right? Generally, I would suggest give them 3 to 4 weeks initially, because that's why we've got 2 months. 3 weeks is a good time period. Hopefully they would have come back by then. If they have not come back, go ahead and ask them again, hey, I'd raised this point with you. Could we please chat about it? Is there any progress update for me, please? I'm keen to understand what is going on, right? And hopefully they'll give you. Now, make sure it is not going dilly-dally for a long period of time, because if it is, then you need to sense that it's not going anywhere, right? So give yourself not more than 6 months, right? If your salary hike is not happening within the 6 months, I would suggest that you take whatever option you need to take, either looking outside or, whatever you need to do, right? But make sure you are direct and you are not beating around the bush, very clear in your expectations, because you deserve it, right? So these are the 4 parameters that I wanted to share with you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you did, give my video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to bring more content. And with that, I'm going to sign off now. See you later. Jai Hind.